Hey, DB.
Yo, what's up?
It's April. Did you know that?
April? It's not April Fool's. I can't say anything. Well, I still say stupid stuff. Don't worry.
It's April Fool's on this show every time. What are you talking about?
It sure is.
So it's
what's big
April.
about April? Tell me about April.
It's Andor month, which less than what? We're 19 days away or something like that from Andor. And what's a little Gorman massacre between friends, right?
Right. So we're talking about the Gorman massacre for an hour and a half tonight?
No, actually, we're not. We're going to talk about something completely different.
Awesome.
But in the meantime, so we were talking about the I was on another show and we were talking about the Gorman massacre, or we were talking about Andor season 2, and we developed our own story group. So Disney, if you're listening, with Mark Newbold and from Fantatrax, and they keep saying don't have expectations, and what if Luthen is the adjutant for the Gorman massacre? What if he's the one that actually causes it or triggers it? And then Mon Mothma, she becomes the strong independent leader because of it, because it drives a wedge between them. And then she sends Cassian to assassinate Luthen to take him out of the picture. Wouldn't that be something?
Twist. That
would be.
Full on M. Night Shyamalan. I love it.
right. Or Black Mirror or something like that.
Yeah.
So, anyway, let's get into the show. So
let's do it.
Let me find my...
And now, on with the show.
For bladder check. Check.
Check.
Check. Wait. Screw it. I'm holding it.
It's raining men. Hallelujah, it's raining men.
Podcasting, the final audio frontier. These are the legends of Brown Squadron.
Our computer is picking up a strange signal. Here, sir, you better take a look at it.
The ongoing mission? To explore the Star Wars universe and other nerd culture topics. To seek new content and new cantinas, bars, and lounges. To boldly annoy Scruffy by making too many bad jokes. Welcome to the Hyperspace Heroes Podcast.
All right, and welcome to Hyperspace Heroes, episode 128 or 153 on the Spotchka scale. And this is Brown Leader signing in. All wing, report in.
I guess that means Brown 4. I'm used to memorizing my lead-in line, and Brown 2's not here. So Brown 4 signing in. Right
on. So Scruffy is on assignment again tonight, and will be again next week, the bummer. Episode 153 on the Spotchka scale, 128 on the regular schedule. But yeah, we've got a fun show tonight. We are going to take a cruise and end up probably in a daze here when we're done, and look at our guests behind the scenes just looking at us intently, and I'm kind of intimidated, but no, we're gonna be talking documentary filmmaking. We're gonna be talking Kickstarters, and maybe even a little bit of real life role playing, and we're gonna meet some of the creators behind a new documentary film entitled Halcyon Daze, the Final Voyages of Disney's Star Wars Galactic Cruiser. So we're going to be talking Galactic Cruiser. If you're a Star Wars fan, you most likely know what that is, or sadly was at this point. And we're going to talk to some creators that are doing a documentary all about it. But before we do that, let's jump into the chat really quick. Carbonites, welcome to the show. It's rating men. It's also rating viewers. So make sure to smash that like button. Yes, sir. Thank you. I always forget to say that at the end of the show. So good old Vincent is always super reliable. And I've got some things. He got his package from us. He was one of our very first giveaway winners a few weeks back, and he did receive that package. So we've got that. We'll show that here in a little bit. Reigning Scruffy, yes, the Delphi Rangers, welcome to the show. Oh, here's a good one. Carbonites. Fun fact: if you rearrange the letters in Luthen's name, it spells Gorman Maz. Right on, right on. And then Carbonites, you're right, at Adelphi. Carbonites, turns out it's not raining Scruffy. No, it's not tonight. He is, let's see, he was going loony before, and what is he? Shell-shocked tonight, we'll say that, right?
Shell-shocked, yeah.
Shell-shocked. How many ducks does this man need to hunt? Yeah, no, he is not hunting ducks tonight. Actually, Vincent and I have been DMing, and he caught up on last week's episode, and he truly appreciated the Mountain Dew product placement ad that he did.
Yeah, it was it. I should have brought a dew to honor Scruffy tonight. And
Right. Adelphi Ranger. I'm Brown 363 Carson Steva's TVC number. Right on.
Yeah.
Right on. And then I vouch for this man, honorary member Brown 63. Wait, what? You got to come on the show. The rule is you have to come on the show. So I think that's Adelphi Rangers inviting themselves onto the show. And, maybe we might have to make that happen. Right. But, maybe it would be kind of a fun dual show. We should have Adelphi Rangers and Max Rebo Experience at the same time. Maybe. I don't know. That Adelphi Rangers smashed. All right. So let's bring our guests have been waiting long enough. But tonight on the show, we've got Carrie Copeland, who is the director, one of the stars of the documentary. She's going to be joining us. We've got Jonathan Hopp. He is co-producer, social media lead, writer, and most importantly, the spouse of the director. And then we've got John Jennings, who's in graphics consultant. He also has another great video, which we've got to remember to have him plug. He did a video also about the Halcyon that I watched earlier today. Really enjoyed it because he puts a different twist on it. And I think we'll end up talking a little bit about that too, which is thinking of the Halcyon as like a real life RPG. So for you gamers, a missed opportunity for those that didn't go, I think. But yeah, we'll have them all talk that. So let's bring them on to the show. So welcome, gang.
Oh, full house. Look at that.
Right on. Hello.
Thank you so much for having us.
Awesome to be here.
Yeah, welcome. So so guys, welcome to the show. You've been putting together a documentary called Halcyon Daze. And is there anything about your little backgrounds you'd like to touch on before we get into the 20 questions portion of the show?
I'll just go ahead and say, never have made a documentary before. So that's a whole thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And you know what? We're going to get into that. I think I want to get into that because I want to get into a little bit of each of your backgrounds and what this experience has been like for you making a documentary, because we like to ask questions behind the scenes stuff, what's the creative process, how do you make your decisions, that kind of thing. So let's get into the icebreaker questions though, which is let me find my notes here. We run a real tight professional ship here, so so we'll start. Carrie, we'll start with you. And we'll kind of cut down on some of the time since we have so many guests on tonight. It's kind of a two-part question. So what does Star Wars mean to you? And what was your first, and if you want to work into it, what was your first Star Wars experience or memory?
Mm-hmm. Star Wars right now mainly means to me, and this is going to sound slightly cheesy, and I'm sorry if it's cliche, but the way in which the Force connects us all. And that's become so powerful through the documentary and the friends that I've made and the way in which we connect. I think it's also come to me in like imagination and love of thinking about other worlds and who else we can be. My earliest memory was seeing the first movie back in the 70s when I was a kid and a big fancy Cineplex, and I was just really blown away. Total crush on Luke Skywalker. Sorry, that's also cliche. So that's me.
DB was the same way. So.
Totally, 100%.
I heard that before I came on.
So it's not a cliche answer, honestly. And we've in the last couple of years since we've been asking that question, surprisingly, we have never had the same answer twice. Everybody has their own. The cool thing about we're learning about the Star Wars fandom is everybody's got their own personal connection, and everybody's answer is unique, has been unique to them, which is very cool. So, Jonathan, same kind of questions. What does Star Wars mean to you? Yeah, go ahead.
What's our? I think just powerful storytelling, because that's something I valued. You know, such a massive, deep world. It's one of the most incredible, pieces of storytelling that's certainly come out of American culture. In my first experience, I'm in my 50s, so I'm of the vintage where I saw it as a little kid in the theater. My parents were the kind of parents who would take you to see whatever movie. Like, I'm 8 years old and I'm seeing Alien with them, inappropriately. So I saw Star Wars from day one, and it was an incredible world to see and play in, and keep diving into.
Right on. Yeah, I had the same kind of parents. I saw The Shining in the theater at the age of 6, and Kubrick's Shining, and that messed me up on horror films until I had kids and they wanted to start watching scary movies, and then I had to suck up and I had to start watching scary movies with them. But I sounds like we're all kind of in the same. I like the word vintage bracket, and that's great. JP.
Sure. Yeah. So I remember I was born in 85 and probably being about 4 years old or so and watching a VHS tape of Return of the Jedi at my aunt's house. And I don't remember seeing any movie before that one. And I very keenly remember the whole Jabba the Hutt scene in the throne room and the dancing aliens and the Rancor and all these amazing things that blew my little 4-year-old mind. And the other, weirdly enough, I don't remember anything else except for the removing Vader's helmet scene at the very end. And out of all the other things in that movie, I don't know why that one sticks out of my mind. It made such an impact on me. And I feel like I was lucky enough when I was born in the 80s that there was a renaissance of these amazing fantasy films, and Star Wars is one of those. And that created in me from a very young age this love of fantasy and world building. And for me, that world building is what draws me most to the Star Wars universe. I think it's a fantastic goal world, and that you can get lost in. I do personally, outside of Star Wars stuff, I also enjoy tabletop RPGs and D&D, and I think we even play Star Wars TTRPGs as well. Just having that impact set me up for a life of just imagination and fun and role playing and things like that. So for me, Star Wars was definitely all about the world in which it a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. What better way is there to begin a movie?
Right on. We're friends with there's a podcast called Coruscant Nights, and they do the Star Wars RPG, and they turn it into a podcast, and and we're actually going to go on their show and do a game with them, and I think season 3 we're going to be part of their season. Totally vibe with that. That's cool. Want to welcome a few more people into the chat. Dr. Squatch, welcome to the show, sir. Dr. Squatch is a regular on the Rule the Galaxy show, and which we're friends with. And welcome to the show, to our show tonight, and checking us out. And then, or where was it? The Showman joining us tonight. So, okay, so Halcyon Daze, the Final Voyages of Disney's Star Wars Galactic Cruiser. It's a documentary. So, Carrie, let's start with you. Why a documentary?
I have learned about myself. When I ask myself that almost every day, about half a year ago when things were really hard, why a documentary? Why am I doing this? But I have learned about myself through nonfiction writing my entire life. My degrees are in writing, and I teach writing, especially nonfiction. And so that, and I love documentaries like Roger and Me blew my mind, back in the day. So Michael Moore's work and things like Koyaanisqatsi, Powhatan, these documentaries that just helped me understand myself in the world. So I thought, I really need to figure out why I'm so obsessed with this thing. It's expensive. I'm just a public school teacher. I'm not even a Star Wars super fan. I'm a fan, but like, why? So I thought nonfiction, documentary, visual, it just made sense. And I thought I could get some people on board to do that. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And it kind of leads into the next thing is, so you're a teacher, but do you, what was your, do you have any other like training or anything that is bringing you into this, or is it just really you being driven by your passion for wanting to create, tell this story about the Halcyon, which let's face it, in the fandom, it's a pretty divisive issue. There's the people that truly enjoy it, that got to experience it, and then there are the fandom that just looked at the price tag and were like, nope, and then started trolling or bashing those that did, as whatever, rich kids, sellouts, whatever the whatever they tried to sling at it. But what or is it, so let me get back to what I was asking, which is it just your passion that you're bringing to it, your organizational skills? What is it? Did you have you ever worked on anything like this before?
Okay, so I'm going to give you I'm going to tell you a couple different things. So, okay, admittedly, I have degrees in writing. I have a bachelor's in English creative writing, MFA in creative nonfiction, and a doctoral degree in rhetoric and composition. And I've taught writing and written all my whole life. So I have this storytelling piece in my work that I've, in my personal essays, my dissertation, that kind of stuff. I really value how stories can explore and valorize the things that we're interested in and want to research. So that's kind of like my technical pedigree stuff, but I don't think that has really as much to do with this. Is that my real training is that I'm not scared of anything. I just go, okay, here's an idea. Can I get it done? And right. I've done some, like, I was a camp counselor. I've built a couple of teams in administrative roles. So I feel like I have some of those skills. And then my husband, I'm just going to ask my husband to jump in here and like talk about can you talk about my training as a persuader?
Your training as a persuader?
If anybody knows, it'll be your husband.
Training. Yeah.
What
do you think my skills are, John? That made what skills? What training did I have to do this? I'm in film. Technically, I love film, love documentaries.
I'm losing the.
Oh, he's having a little trouble there.
But I would the feed, so I'm having a hard time hearing you.
Okay.
Yeah. So Jonathan, what skill sets are you bringing to the show, and have you worked in film or anything like that before?
If he's having technical
There's
issues,
a question for me. I could not understand. I'm going to try to move to.
He's going to relocate.
Okay. Yeah. No worries. So JP, let's switch over to you. So
sure.
What kind of projects have you worked on? What are you bringing into this kind of thing? And also we know how Jonathan got roped into this, obviously. So how did you get brought into the project?
Yeah, so I actually do have a background in film and video production. That's what I have my degree in. That's what I went and got my bachelor's in. I've worked on all kinds of things, including documentary types of work. And I have a YouTube channel on YouTube called Double Crit Fail, where I talk about tabletop RPGs. And in general, the way that I process things is by making videos about them. If I'm going through, something and I'm just trying to like parse it out in my mind, that's how I tackle things. And as I was making this video about the Galactic Star Cruiser, I was doing a whole bunch of research, and I had heard of Carrie's documentary Halcyon Daze before. I'd seen the documentary quite a while ago, but I ran back into her project because she was having a virtual Q&A with one of the performers on the Halcyon who played, they were called Saja. They were like non-force attuned believers of the Force who would help passengers go down the Force path. And her name was, her character name is Kier, and the actor's name is Kieran. And she was giving a virtual Q&A. So I jumped in. I had an amazing time. I met Carrie, Zoom face to face. And I mentioned that, I did have a background in film and video production. And I mentioned, if there's anything I can do to help. And she said, oh, that would be great. I'm contributing things like motion graphics and animations, things like that. But for me, the reason why I wanted to be involved in this project was because it existed for just a tiny little blip of time. And so many people did not have a chance to experience it. And everyone, for the most part, who did, came away with this amazing, life-changing experience. And unfortunately, the larger public as a whole didn't get to see or experience or realize that. They didn't know what this amazing experience that the rest of us had. So I was like, I'll do anything that will help preserve the legacy of this and be able to document it and share it with the world. Because for me, it's such a tragedy that this thing closed so early and that more people did not get a chance to experience it. So if there's any way that I can help its legacy live on, the way I like to think of it as, it's like we're creating a holocron of this experience and putting it out there. So that's why I got involved.
Right on. That's very cool. Yeah, and it's funny how we've talked about it before. It's funny how Star Wars has, how it brings communities together, right? We find that we have a common purpose, and we actually pass through Louisville a lot when we go down to a convention every year in Nashville. So we drive through Louisville and the connections we've made down there as adults, because let's face it, after a certain age, you're not going out to the bar, you're not making new friends, you're not, making friends on the playground anymore. So you pretty much just living your life. And Star Wars, we found, has been a great community to make those bridges. Like we wouldn't be sitting here talking to you guys right now, if we weren't into Star Wars and had this show and like talking to people. So no, that's very cool. Very, very cool. And I love to see when those connections come together. I want to welcome a few more people real quick into the chat. D-Man, welcome, sir. Brown 39 incoming. Mr. David Jones there. He is an actor up in the Buffalo and then Canada area. Has been on Star Trek a couple times. Ubaldo, welcome to the show, everybody. Cherry, welcome. Also another winner of one of our giveaways. And then Carbonite's welcoming him to the show. Welcome, gang. So we're talking about, for those that just joined, we're talking about a documentary film that's being in production right now called Halcyon Daze, the Final Voyages of the Disney Star Wars Galactic Cruiser. And so Jonathan, hopefully we've got a little bit of a better connection now. So we wanted to kind of, oh, good. What is it, how, other than Carrie's persuasion skills, what's kind of brought you into this film?
No, it really is mostly her persuasion. But,
or do you because I think I read in your bio you've got some film training and stuff.
A little bit. I worked a little in the film industry at a really low level, basically working on like sort of editing on screenplays, and doing coverage, if you know what that is, on screenplays. And then I've done a little very just sort of helping out with a friend's business in Louisville here as well. He does custom scenes for actors who need film work but don't have any. So I've done a little production on film stuff as well. Worked on short film with some friends here. So all very hobby level mostly, and Anyway, little stuff here and there, but
right on.
I've been
right
a
on.
movie fanatic my whole life. I also like Carrie, love documentaries, and when she was going to do this, I thought the Star Cruiser was to me, and probably a big component was also another person who came on the team who's not here tonight, but who's he was he had experience. That's Ben and Daughtry, who's doing the editing right now on the film, and he's a person who had a bunch of experience. So when we talked about maybe doing this with him, he'd done docs, he'd worked in TV, worked in film, various documentaries, and he was like, "This is a good idea. This would be great, and maybe I can help you with it." And he got more and more involved. So that gave us a lot of confidence as well. But again, Carrie is just the kind of person who jumps in with both feet and takes on a challenge. Right on. How exciting.
Okay, so I've got your website loaded up for those that want to, and we're not done talking about this. We're gonna keep talking about this for a while. For those that want to find out more specifics that go beyond this conversation, let me bring that up here really quick. So www.halcyondazefilm.com, and we're gonna actually bring that up on the screen right now because should we just watch the promo reel that's on there and kind of give people a glimpse of what's going on? Is that something?
I would love to do the promo reel and or the Kickstarter video, because that really shares a little bit about what we've done. So the teaser trailer and or the Kickstarter video later. What do you think? Have you seen the Kickstarter video?
I'm not sure if I have or not, but yeah, we could do both. Absolutely. Without a doubt.
Okay,
So
let's do the teaser trailer first and then maybe later the Kickstarter. Does that sound good?
yeah. So is that this one right
Thank
here? The
you.
product. Yeah. The production.
That's the
promo
teaser
reel?
trailer. Yeah.
Okay. So let's do this.
I'm Carrie Copeland from Louisville, Kentucky. I teach senior English. I live a pretty, normal life. Oh, Dad, I love you so much. I'm sorry I'm not there. All right, happy 80th birthday. I'm missing my dad's 80th birthday, but priorities, I gotta be on the Star Cruiser right now.
Hello there. I would like to congratulate you on booking your voyage through the galaxy. You will be boarding the Halcyon.
Star Wars Galactic Star Cruiser is a first of its kind vacation experience where you get to spend 2 days and 2 nights living out your very own Star Wars story.
The Galactic Star Cruiser was a branded Star Wars experience on Disney property that was a 2-day immersive theatrical live game-playing theater event. On its surface level, that's what it was.
I became obsessed with the Star Cruiser, but I shouldn't have gotten obsessed. I'm not a Star Wars super fan. So I want to look under the hood of this thing and I want to know how, why, what does it mean about who we are? What's up with the Star Cruiser? Give me a drink?
Not now.
Oh, Jellicle Snug Snack? So I decided on this character, Jellicle Snug Snacks, aka Snacks Baby. Behold.
Cosplay became something where I could express myself very freely. I can be a villain. I can be a non-human creature. I can be a wise sage. I can be a funny character.
I think he likes you.
And I found that very freeing.
Pleased to know that our new ship's mechanic, Sammy, has brought him here.
It's 70 hours of immersive theater happening over the course of 2 days.
Just call me Snacks.
Yeah, it's nice. If we're skilled enough and we do our job, you take them through not just watching a hero's journey, but living it.
So an alternate reality game is what we call this transmedia experience. You have to go out and search and seek.
I just downloaded some stuff to my data pad.
You might talk to non-player characters. Holy crap.
What we fight for is not enough.
This is amazing. Maybe this world is deeper than I think it is. How deep does it go?
How did Disney create take this thing that's so magic and powerful and connected so many people in such a positive way.
It felt kind of like I had been searching for like a certain level of belonging for a very long time, and that you feel like kind of instantly at home and welcome.
It's evolved into not just Star Cruiser friends, they're just friends now. And that Disney certainly did not plan for.
Breaking news from Disney this afternoon. One of its newest hotels at Disney World is about to close its doors for good.
This is the third to last voyage, and I can feel that. People are crying and sad.
Disney is permanently shutting down its Galactic Star Cruiser hotel.
I think that it was doomed, like hard doomed from the beginning.
Yeah, that is just so sad. It's over. That was a year and a half of magic that everybody who got to touch it and be a part of it will remember forever.
So my question is, now what? What are we going to do now?
So I want
I
to
don't
say
know about
two
you.
things.
Yeah, go ahead.
First of all, every time I see that trailer still, I still get goosebumps. I don't know. Maybe it was because I was there, but like it's so powerful to me. And then the other thing I want to say is I think my favorite part of watching that trailer just now was watching Carrie watch that trailer.
Right.
Getting used to being on screen. Oh well.
It takes a little get used to, because like I edit all of our podcasts, and so listening to my voice on playback constantly is like, I could totally empathize with that.
There was something to be said before we went video and we're just doing audio podcast, you know. And,
yeah.
You know, I could be like this the whole time, so I totally get it.
Yeah. And now, like, we've watched that so many times now, but like, what's up with the Star Cruiser? Like, we say, what's up with all kinds of things. Like, what's up with our dogs needing to eat their dinner? Like, what's up with anything? It's just over and over. What's up? I watched it. Anyway, thank you for playing that. That's really sweet.
Yeah.
And can I just, I want to circle back on one little thing. Brown
Yes.
Leader.
Yeah.
You were talking about making adult friends, right?
Yeah.
And that is something that has been so powerful with the Star Cruiser community. I have never made so many friends as I have from the Star Cruiser experience. And these people are, anyway, we can get into the community aspect later, but that has also been part of what makes this project and the community so powerful. Giving, generous, creative, positive, supportive. It's why our Kickstarter is backed right now, why we are where we are, why JP came on. I mean, unbelievable to make adult friends at this age, 56, 53, whatever. Like, it's beautiful, and the Force is in it, man. I'm sorry, I just really think the Force is in it.
Like another aspect of the community that shows kind of that it's special is when the closure of the hotel of the experience of this Galactic Star Cruiser was announced. People were devastated that they couldn't go, and they tried calling in on the day that bookings were reopened, and people were on the phone for hours, and some of them did not get in. It sold out that day for the rest of the voyages from March or May or whatever it was, April to September. And people opened up their cabins to complete strangers saying, I know you never got a chance to go. Like, I don't know. I want to check your vibes, make sure you're, a cool person. We can do a quick chat or whatever, but
Zoom.
If you want to experience it, come and experience it. They literally opened up the community, banded together to make sure that as many people who wanted to try to visit were able to. And I think that's unbelievable that people were able, that they had that spirit of we want to support each other and help each other.
That's awesome. Yeah, no, that's cool. And let's use that as a segue, because something we were
Mm-hmm.
talking about even before we started. One of the things, and we touched on it earlier in the show, which was, the fandom was kind of divided on it. People looked at it at the price tag and were automatically negative towards it. Carrie, I think you said you've been on 4 times. So what do you say to the people that just wrote it off as a trivial thing, in terms of way too expensive, Disney's gouging us, and was it worth, well, obviously if you've been on 4 times, what was it worth, the cost of because it wasn't cheap. So what was it that gave you that value of going on?
It's such a fair question, and I just got to say off the top, transparently, Disney, and including the Galactic Star Cruiser, a lot of things are behind a paywall, and not everybody can access them, from just going to the Magic Kingdom to doing this thing, which was expensive. So just stop me. Yeah, look under the hood of it. Yeah, thanks, Morgan, the Momo. I know who that is. Hi, Mo. So, we got it as a gift. Mostly, we put a down payment down, and it was in honor of John's dad, who we lost during COVID. They were going to go together.
Yeah, I
They
just
could
want to
afford
specify
it.
also, when you say it's a gift, it wasn't a gift from Disney.
It was not a gift. No, thank you for that. I mean, Disney has
Before
no
anybody
they
jumps
have
in and
nothing,
says, "Oh,
they
Disney
have
paid for it."
nothing to do.
Well,
They have nothing to do with this.
and that's a fair point, because a lot of quote unquote influencers, did get to go for free, and of course they're going to pump it up. And heck, I'll admit it, if Disney called me and said, "Hey, we want you to come review it, we'll host you for 2 days for free," I'd give it raving reviews too. I'm not gonna lie, because that's a heck of a gift. But yeah, anyway, go ahead.
Okay, thanks. So I said we're going to put a down payment on this thing, which was $1,000 on a credit card, and over 1,000. And John's mom was like, "It's his 50th. They were going to go together. He lost his dad. I'm going to just send you," so that she paid for the rest of it. So we basically got it for a really good deal. And then I want to talk about how I paid for it, because I think that's important. I think most people think that everybody was just very wealthy and could not. I'm a public school teacher, and while I do have a PhD and a lot of experience, and we have a union, and I have to make a good rate of pay, I am not wealthy by any means. So second trip, end of my school year, I was thinking about it so much, and I went on and I got on the Suite Mate Finder to share my cabin, a cabin with strangers. By then they were offering discounts, so it was 30% off. So we split the room 4 ways, so it made it less than $1,500 for the whole thing. Which, if you buy the Poly for 2 nights, rack rate, that's what you're going to pay in a good room, without the dinner show, the amazing food, the activities, the gaming, the interactive improv theater, the show of the thing, the trip to Batu, the lightning lanes. Like, Disney Tourist Blog broke it down thing by thing, and you can be like, everything costs what it costs. So yeah, it was not just a hotel. Hi, Lloyd. Oh my God, these are my people. Lloyd, I love you. Thank you for supporting us, Lloyd. You're the best. So on the third try, again, discounts, and we split it with my brother, his son, and Jonathan went back on with me for his second time, my third. And then the fourth time so we hadn't paid for this $4,800 or $7,000 ticket, because we were splitting it. There were discounts. And then the fourth time we got on and split to do the shoot. So we got our executive producer, me, lead researcher, and our cinematographer on. People let us into their cabins and we split it with them, discounts or not. So I didn't pay probably for myself over $5,000 total for any of my trips. And there were a lot of people like me who split, got discounts. They were gifts. They went on with their family who wanted to take them on it. Before family, super, I get it. It's costly and worth it. Yeah, if you break it down, it doesn't mean that it doesn't seem expensive. But I'm telling you, those 2 days feel like a week, because you are packed back to back to back to back with stuff. It's so dense with experience and emotion and fun and oxytocin and dopamine, and you're just firing. And I'm so sorry you didn't get to go. And I'm sorry that other people didn't get to go. Anybody want to jump in here on that, or do you have a follow-up, or does that answer it?
That's one of the things when this was announced, I thought this would be incredible. but so cost prohibitive for me to take the entire family who are not the super fan that I am, but they would go along, for my benefit. But, would they enjoy it as much as I, being fully immersed? And I think, in retrospect, this is something that I would have done with Brown Leader and Scruffy, who we would have just totally bathed in the thing for 2 days, and gotten the most for our money.
Yeah, I don't know about Scruffy bathing, but that's a whole nother story.
He's not here to defend himself.
No,
but,
he's not.
I'm very, it makes me sad that I never had the opportunity to experience it because it was perceived as cost prohibitive.
Yeah. And, it is expensive. It is a lot of money. There's no denying that. Like, totally. Like, when I went, I also split it with 4 other people, my wife and 3 of her friends. And so for us, it also came out to around $1,500 per person. My wife isn't a Star Wars fan. She went as the Doctor, Doctor Who, exactly. And she had an amazing time. And the characters played along with her world, and they weren't afraid to like genre bend and play around. For me, the question of if it was worth it, like, I would say absolutely so, because I had never experienced something to that degree of immersion and actually feeling like I was in Star Wars in my entire life. Like I've said that if watching a movie or watching Star Wars as a movie is like watching Star Wars, and if reading it is a book is reading Star Wars, the Halcyon Daze was like actually living Star Wars. You've totally felt like you were in the world. Every person, I'd say about 70% of the people that were passengers had also dressed up and created unique original characters. They're called blue crews. It's the people that are in the blue shirts, blue uniforms. They all had home worlds where if you ask them about Alderaan, not that one, Coruscant or Chandrilla or something like that, they could go in depth and tell you their entire backstory. The bartender on my cruise, his name was Chris, and he was from Nar Shaddaa, one of the Huttese moons. So he was talking about how he grew up essentially as a servant in a Huttese palace until he was able to like get away from that. So you felt totally immersed. You had your main cast of your central characters, and each of them had their own individual story that would branch off in these different paths. So everybody was having a totally unique experience just to them. And the way you were able to do that, and I had a completely different experience than my wife, who had a completely different experience than our friends, it felt like this was a really, truly breathing world inside of the Star Wars universe. So, was that worth it? Like, money, I can always get more money, right? But I won't always have more time to spend with family or friends. And I won't always have the ability to go and see these amazing, unique things. And I only went after I found out about the closer, because I'm like, it's now or never, and I don't want it to be never. If I had gone earlier, I would have brought so many other people with me because I know they would have loved it. And it's just such a shame that it did not have a chance to be around long enough to grow that positive word of mouth. It was only around for less than 18 months, and like less than 71,000 people actually got a chance to visit it, which in perspective is the number of people who visit just the Magic Kingdom in a single day. So it's a shame that Disney, first of all, it's hard to describe what it was because there's literally nothing else like it. It's not a dinner show. It's not a role-playing game. It's not immersive theater. It's transcendent. And it's really hard to describe. And I think that's why marketing had such a hard time saying what it was. And I think that's what makes it so special. And yeah, it was worth it.
I got to say, when they announced the closure, my brain, as a person who works in marketing, immediately went, this is new Coke. They're just trying to drive demand. They're going to amazingly save it a month from now. And it didn't happen. Yes.
Yeah, not surprised.
And I was also shocked because there was it's publicly announced that it did have trouble filling up the cabins, and it happened at a very difficult time with the economy, happened at a time right after COVID. There were all these reasons, and it was very cost prohibitive, like absolutely. So there were rumors right before it closed that they were going to try to change it up and maybe introduce new plot elements to revitalize it and bring old people back, or bring customers back. And the fact that when it closed, everybody had this really high expectation of, we really, really hope that this reopens again one day. And I think I wasn't having high hopes that it would be able to reopen. I thought maybe it would reopen in a very watered down form, like maybe a 2-hour dinner show or something like that. But like the fact that this amazing, beautiful building is now going to be an office space for Disney employees, I'm like, it's lost media. At this point. It's so sad that all that stuff is gone.
Yeah, right on. So with the storyline that took place was around the era of the sequels, right? So because you had the one part with Kylo and Rey, and we have an interesting question from the chat, because talking about another divisive thing in the fandom, Star Wars fandom divided. No kidding. Which is let me bring that question up. From Adelphi Rangers, I wonder if passengers find their opinion of the sequel trilogy has changed. Did you find that the story elements used for the cruise helped build more lore? Did it build more, support for those films?
So I would say, oh, Carrie, you're muted.
Oh, I was gonna pitch it to Jonathan.
Well, I think it's hard to answer. I think what people don't read between Rey and Kylo, so and people knew that it was set then, so it was like, okay, this is new, this is sequel trilogy time. But the thing is that all the characters you really got way more involved with were had just original characters to this thing, to the Galactic Star Cruiser. So even though you could get a little interacty with Rey, not nearly as much, not with Kylo at all, as far as I know. So it was really these original characters that could have been, they could have super much to the it didn't affect my sort of view of the sequel trilogies, really. The overall feeling I had was interest in these new characters that were just their own thing. They were just from this thing, but they felt very Star Wars. There was one that was very like, he's kind of in the Han Solo vein, and there were these Sajai characters, who were Galactic Star Cruiser, and they are kind of monks of the Force, more or less, but they're not Force users themselves. That was an interesting thing, and people really got to interact with them in very interesting ways. So I mean, it was, to me, it was much more an original Star Wars corner,
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, the timeline was, I would say, almost irrelevant because of what Jonathan was saying. It was all original characters, so it could have just, other than some of these bigger set pieces, it could have easily been adapted to like the original trilogy. And as far as if my opinion on the sequel trilogy has changed because I was on the Galactic Star Cruiser, I'd say no. I'm not a big fan of the sequel trilogy, in all honesty. But it's funny, right? Because I had an opportunity to like talk with Rey and help Rey and interact with her. And so like in my mind, when I picture Rey, I don't picture, Daisy Ridley. I picture the actress who was on my whole Halcyon voyage. So yeah, I wasn't a big fan of the sequel trilogy going in, and it didn't change my opinion. I wasn't a big fan coming out either. So I think the timeline aspect to it was kind of irrelevant. And I think it, for people that wanted it to be set in the original trilogy, like I love the original trilogy, but it would have been a little weird to be like talking to Han Solo, and Han Solo isn't Harrison Ford. Like with these newer sequel, when they're original characters, you don't know what they look like, and they could be anybody. But with like, if you have Mark Hamill, Carrie Fisher, and Harrison Ford and their characters aboard the Star Cruiser, I would have been like, this is no, I can't buy into this. It would break my immersion too much. So. Yeah, that's just kind of
although they did, they did include Chewbacca in the cast, so he's there on the Halcyon, and so you get a little piece of original trilogy, because of course he is still around in sequel trilogy times. So that's a fun little like callback for people who wanted a little more of the original, that he's there, and you're standing next to this actor in a suit, and in a Chewbacca suit.
I can hear him from the other room. I'm almost really ready to translate for him till he's cut out. I'm almost ready to bring him into this room with me, except his earbuds with me.
Yeah, maybe do that, because he seems I'd be able to hear him better on my end if he was to do that.
I know.
If there's space over there.
There's space, but I'd have to take my earbuds out and just put the sound on, so we could see if that would work. But I might just bring him in here, if y'all don't mind.
Yeah, no, that's great.
bring it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
We
cool.
can try that.
There he goes. He's coming in.
So, JP, while they're working on that, you had talked about, something we had talked about, which was a question we wanted to bring up later was, because of the immersive nature, and then it's being supported by what Jonathan just talked about how it was the original characters that really added a lot of depth. Do you feel that, you were mentioning something, I think, before the show about the marketing, if they had marketed to different groups more about the immersive nature of it, and that it was like and I watched your YouTube video, more of an real life RPG.
Sorry about that. I was trying to unmute and accidentally. Yeah, I think they totally had an untapped market in that. It was a LARP, like probably the most in-depth, highest quality LARP, because they spent like, I don't know how much, like hundreds of millions of dollars on this hotel, let's say, and just imagine that amount of money going into kind of a LARP experience. I think if they had, instead of going for TikTok influencers, which blows my mind that they decided that was the right path to take, if they had brought on, I'm gonna name drop some kind of nerdy groups right now, but like Critical Role, who's like a very popular D&D live stream, or Dimension 20, if they had actually had the pre-thought to like go for the interactive LARPing market, man, this would have like been the killer app for LARP. So it's they dropped the ball on so many things, and the fact that they weren't able to tap into that market was just one of many failures that the not the creatives, but like the corporates made with the Star Cruiser. So that's my own personal opinion.
Right.
I'm not representing Halcyon Daze in that statement.
I think, and something to kind of support, I think what Jonathan was talking about with Chewbacca being there, the wife and I went to Disney World, and yeah, obviously I know that's not Peter Mayhew. I know that's not, the new guy, Eunice, but it still was a great experience. I mean, and my wife, who's not a Star Wars fan at all, it was a great, the smile on her face, I think she was more proud of that picture than I was. And so There's something to be said about using the right characters, because that's a whole nother debate in the Star Wars fandom. Do you replace original actors? But we're not going to go down that road tonight. But with Chewbacca, it's a little easier. So, but yeah, Carrie, go ahead.
Oh, I want to say one more thing.
Yeah.
Not only were all the Blue Crew characters, and not only were all the original characters you could interact with characters, but like so many of your fellow passengers were also characters. So it was like, if you ever wanted to like actually have a chance to create your own Star Wars character and like go on an adventure, this was the place to do it. So yeah, I just want to say that too.
Right
like
on.
on top of just the LARP point, like you had full control over the character you brought into this experience and got to live it. So yeah.
Yeah, I'd say just as another example of what they did with characters, one of the sort of smaller side characters is a Rhodian alien, and who speaks Huttese only. So she's got that's like the Greedo type alien. There she is. And she's walking around the ship, and it's a really good, alien head she's in, and her mouth's moving, and she's speaking Huttese. And if you learn a bunch of Huttese words, you can kind of talk to her in Huttese, which Carrie
Gishada Gasha.
Carrie did. She studied up on Huttese, and you can't talk to her in English, but or you can kind of, she'll sort of. But you can talk to her in these words, and she responds, and this was not a main character,
Right.
really. So that's the level of detail they put in, like everything that's going on this thing. So it created a level of real immersion that's really hard to describe to people, because that's just one
and if
thing.
we go and if we go back to the price, I think the reason it was so expensive was because it was small. You only had about 500 people on a single voyage, which allowed people to actually have these personal interactions with these characters. But it was also super high quality. Yeah, at most 500. A lot of the voyages were half full. So if you have something that only a limited people can experience at one point in time, but also have it be a super high quality, it's kind of like that triangle of choose two. You couldn't do it without having it be, expensive.
Mm-hmm.
And like if they wanted to scale it up to 10,000 people or something like that, you would lose that personal touch that you got to experience when you were there. So it's kind of like, oh man, I don't know how they could have made this available in a way that it would have. And I'm sure if they really thought about it, maybe they would have been able to come up with a way. But I personally can't think of a way that they could have had it be that immersive and that quality and had it be $100 a night.
No, and I would want Scruffy and DB and Brown Leader to go on, the three of them, split it, get the discount, afford it once in a lifetime, and then they would have loved it. Like, it's for them. But the thing is, I wasn't a Star Wars superfan. Affection for the IP and all that, love it.
Yeah.
And yet, I became obsessed with it more than he did, and he's the Star Wars superfan. So I think it really would speak to like anybody who likes to play, who likes to take risks, who likes creativity, who likes an interesting sci-fi world like I did. Like, you want to talk to and have friggin' crocheted Rhodians in your, anyway. Yeah, you could have definitely done it if they could have only marketed it that way. Split this with your buds, with your crew.
Yeah, and I had heard somebody else that went on there. I went on the Halcyon a couple times, and they were explaining the same thing on another show, and it was like, well, yeah, if we had known about that kind of thing, there was a whole nother market there that they could have tapped if they had started promoting more of that. Yeah, I think you're right about that.
Yeah, I always end up thinking that they should have, marketing wise, like struck the word hotel from like nobody ever used this word. Do not call it a hotel. Don't like tell every like newspaper you talk to, every media outlet, please do not call it a hotel. Because I think it really created a weird, wrong perception of what it was gonna be for a bunch of people. But I think you also, to market it the best way, you would have had to kind of really be like, this is immersive live action role play experience you're going to do. But that would kind of like scare some people off. Like, I'm not a LARPer.
Yeah.
So I don't know how you would have gotten the message across that it's okay. You don't have to be a LARPer. Like, we're going to bring you in anyway. Because that's one of the other things that was pretty incredible about it was you could have zero LARP experience, which was me. And they would, it was like it taught you to do it as you did it. It broke you open and brought you in. And even if you didn't really have a character, like, you'd end up creating one on the fly because they crafted it so well to make that happen, which is that's something else.
And if you wanted to go just in shorts and a t-shirt and just watch from the back and just see everything unfold in front of you, you could have done that too. And you could have had a good time. So they met you where you were. It wasn't like they forced people. They did all this, from what I understand, all this amazing training on how to make, you know, groups of people feel as involved as possible. And one thing that I gotta say that most impressed me about being on the voyage was how they remember everybody's names. Like, I would tell my name to a character once, and I kind of like an easy, funny to remember name. Like, I was Gafka Foss. That was kind of my whole shtick, was I was like a Galactic Star Cruiser, so it was easy to remember, or a Star Cruise skipper, I should say. But like, your name could be Tom, and someone would be like walking down the hallway. Let's say it's the scoundrel Han Solo type, and he would look at you and be like, Tom, come over here. I need to talk to you about something. Wow. And there's this rumor that like they were being fed information, like names and stuff, from their earpieces. I can verify just from like asking actual cast members. They're like, no, we're taught ways to remember people's names. Like, we just how they do it, I have no idea, but they literally remember you and literally remember your names, or your real name, or your fictional Star Wars character name.
Oh,
so that blows me away that they're able to do that. Like, the talent of these cast members, of these actors, the fact that they are able to, you have to have so many skills. You have to have traditional acting. You have to have improv. You have to, some of them were doing stunts. The fact that they have to have this multitude of skills, it's just like they were all Renaissance people. They were extremely talented, and it was, I can't speak highly enough of the creative minds that put this together.
And luckily, the documentary will have some of them talking about their work.
Excellent. Right on. Okay, so I want to kick over to the Kickstarter portion of it, actually, because like Carrie said at the very beginning, this is an expensive project, right? The documentary film. And so you guys have had a Kickstarter running for it. And congratulations, you've actually met your first goal of the Kickstarter. That's awesome. Congratulations. And you know what, DB, we need to add like an applause sound effect for certain.
Yes, we do.
So you said there's a Kickstarter video. Is that on your Kickstarter page?
It is, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so let me bring that up because I think I have it.
Thank you.
Go. Yeah, absolutely.
And do you have a cute dog there that I'm not able to see? Is there a cute
it's a cat
that I'm not?
Yeah, it's one of my cats. So let me
So Carrie, I have a question, but as he's pulling this up.
Yeah.
If you knew now the amount of work that would have gone into making this documentary, and you're not even to the finish line yet, but you're almost there. If you knew how much work it would be, would you have still have done it?
Absolutely. I'd probably be more into it, actually, because I've gotten to use skills and learn things that I had no idea. I thought I was going to take my iPhone in, use iMovie, make something. I'm so stupid, so clueless about it. And now I've made amazing. Yes, I would do it again. Good question. Yes.
That's a great question.
1,000 times yes.
So this is the correct video, right?
Yeah, this is the Kickstarter video. Again,
Okay.
sorry you have to see me again, but
Hi, I'm Carrie Copeland, director of Halcyon Daze, a featured documentary about the short but spectacular run of a unique entertainment experience at Disney World called the Star Wars Galactic Star Cruiser. But the thing is, this film isn't about Star Wars or Disney, really. It's about art, innovation, and community. Galactic Star Cruiser was a one-of-a-kind attraction that simulated in real time and live action a 2-day journey through the Star Wars universe aboard a luxury cruise liner spaceship called the Halcyon. This stunning work transcended mere entertainment, combining elements of interactive theater, immersive art, cosplay, gaming, live-action roleplay.
I think you like sheep.
High-tech set design, luxury hospitality, tabuite, musical performance, special effects. It was a lot. I'm making this film because I want to understand why I got so obsessed with it. So for the past 2 years, we've been working hard on a documentary that captures the history.
The history of immersive entertainment is the campfire.
Legacy and impact of the Star Cruiser.
I believe Galactic Star Cruiser is just the beginning of this kind of immersive experience.
Our team shot over 100 hours of footage, conducted over 50 interviews.
It means a lot because it's the place where, I found my true self.
Not just with the incredible fans, but with academics,
Live action role play is adult pretend play.
field experts,
So when I saw this, I was like, this is my dream come true.
Star Cruiser actors,
I personally know the power of giving people the opportunity to step outside themselves and experience being the hero of the story.
designers,
That actor's ability to connect with people is really the heart of the art form.
and we didn't stop there. Viewers of Halcyon Daze will get to experience the dazzling scope, the incredible artistry as they follow alongside my alter ego, Snacks. Jellicle Snug Snack? You can call me Snacks for short. Don't ask. Aboard one of the final voyages of this incredible work of art. Through its all too brief run, the Galactic Star Cruiser inspired one of the most passionate and imaginative fan communities that I've ever encountered. They call themselves Star Cruisers, and this is their story too.
I was able to, open up and be who I was. And I think that was with a lot of people there.
We covered Star Cruiser fan conventions, meetups, charity events, and more. In other words, this film is more than just the story of a closed theme park attraction. It's about the profound human experiences it enabled and a cultural phenomenon it inspired that is still unfolding and evolving right now. It has even been referred to as life-changing. I know. We're still talking about a Star Wars thing at Disney World, right? Yes, we are. And if you're feeling a bit skeptical, that's okay. You just need to watch our film. Now it's time to get serious. Halcyon Daze is a feature-length documentary with professional cinematography, editing, an original score, and expert-level research. These are the things that take a film to the next level, but they also cost a lot of money. Most docs take millions. We just need a fraction of that to finish post-production, send this film to film festivals, get it into theaters, or onto streaming. Just because the Halcyon is closed doesn't mean you can't get on board with us. Join our team and get access to exclusive merchandise, tiers, and amazing limited offerings. Oh, and of course, don't forget to share this with your friends, your Star Wars nerd dad, your Disney-loving sister, your gaming, LARPing, cosplaying best friend. Heck, share it with everyone. So, if you are someone who values the power of art to change lives, if you appreciate creativity and innovation, if you'd like to understand how a fictional world can bring people together in very real ways, consider helping Team Halcyon Daze finish our film and share it with the galaxy. You see, Star Cruisers have a special phrase that we use to indicate our solidarity. Together as one. And with your help, that's how we'll make this film. With you, all of us, together as one.
That's great.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's great. So, yeah,
Thank
DB, you got your wallet ready?
Oh, come on.
I'm ready to contribute that.
What?
Yeah, I'm
What?
super
Come
impressed.
on.
Super impressed with the you know, all the people, the behind the scenes people that you know, that's a huge component of the documentary. I can tell, and that's awesome that you got access to all of them.
Man, I got to give credit. Carly Kosarek, our lead researcher, like she is on the ball. That video, I'm sorry, JP, I just got to like say that video is an example of what this team does together. Jonathan wrote the script. I acted like a goofball. I'm great at that. The camera team came up into this attic, which is very tight, and we're crouching over getting 2 shots. They had 2 cameras up here. And it's just an example. And Carly edited, like every person on this team is incredible. Like ridiculously healthy, functional team with a lot of talent, energy, and generosity, and love the thing. They love the thing too. Thank you. That means so much. That means so much that you love the video. Thank you.
I was just gonna say, in terms of level of access, of course, like Disney is very tight. They don't like having a lot of information out there about how they do things, or so like everything like is all these people are just speaking as not people representing Disney, but as, you know, people within the profession of creativity. And the level, I think when I saw the first documentary way back when, that was one of the things that impressed me most about this documentary was the level of access that she was able to get with the people who helped put the pieces of this together. You know, no one has ever done this level of research on this project, and the amount of work that she has put into this is, and the whole team, excluding myself because I came in like at the very end. It's really incredible. The research, the access, the people that they're able to talk to. And I think that speaks to how important this experience was to so many people. The fact that like they so desperately want to talk about why it was special to them.
That's cool. That's very cool. We have a question from the chat. And this is a 2-part. So Carbonites wants to know, how influential was the Jenny Nicholson video on your documentary, if you even know what that is?
Yeah, of course. I'm happy to talk about that. First, I want to say that I'm really sorry that she had not a great experience on the Star Cruiser. Like, my wish for her would have been, you would have been on our cruise and our crew, and you would have had a great experience like so many of us did. So I'm sorry that her experience wasn't as good. It's not been directly influential, except that I think for people who are like, you've seen that perspective, like if you want to see another perspective that's got other elements to it, you know, check out our doc, because it's a documentary. That's a YouTube video, and that was her perspective. And we've got another one, so we might, if we can, bring a little bit of it in. Do you want to say something? I can hear him wanting to jump in here.
I'm just dying. I mean, it's always something that gets brought up because she's, I guess, fairly high profile in YouTuber community. So that's a view of it that got a lot of views and attention. But it's really apples and oranges. That's what I would say. That's a very single perspective run through, very long, detailed review of a thing. That's what it. Yeah, I skimmed through it. I can't say I watched all. Is it like 4 hours? But it seemed like it was, very, very in-depth single person's review of a thing that happened to seem like not go very well.
Yeah.
So it's really like very apples and oranges. I mean, we interviewed like many, many passengers to talk about their experiences. We interviewed more than one designer of the experience. We interviewed a bunch of actors from the thing. We interviewed a bunch of experts in different fields that relate to it, and covered not just filming inside, that all these events that the fan community created, which directly relate to it. So there's those events that are a big part of it too. So it's just, it's a really, really different thing.
And I just want to say, Carbonites, thank you for that. Thank you for that comment. That's really sweet, and I hope it does, and I hope you get to see the film. And thank you.
And for those that'll be listening, he followed it up with, I feel like up until now her video was a good way to get a peek into the Star Cruiser. What was it like? But then you came along and blew the doors wide open. So
I'd like to answer that question as well, because actually the video I made, and do you mind if I throw it in chat? Can I throw a link in chat?
Yeah, absolutely.
So the video that I made was like actually very inspired by her 4-hour video, because I did watch all 4 hours, and I actually am a big Jenny Nicholson fan. Like I watched through her 4-hour Evermore video, and I've watched through her Marvel Cinematic Universe, where she goes through all like the Easter reenactments that this church does, and she's very funny and very talented. But like, I think she unfortunately only did show a negative side of this experience. And I feel like, man, I was a little let down, honestly, when I saw her video. Even as someone who is a big Jenny Nicholson fan and also experienced the Star Cruiser, I feel like it was not, not representative of what most people's experiences were. So my video was actually like, I want to show people what this was like to me, because there were certain things she said about it wasn't worth creating a character. And I'm like, that was kind of what the whole experience was all about. And unfortunately, I wasn't, I don't know what happened on her voyage or why she had, all these, it looked like everything that could go wrong did go wrong for her. Like sitting behind a pole on the day she was supposed to be in Batu, it rained. Like, it just seemed like a series of like terrible things that happened. And I don't know if it's just like bad luck or what, but unfortunately, most people feel like that experience is what most people experienced. And, if you look at actual data, the Galactic Star Cruiser, and they've said this, I think they said this a couple years ago at one of the D23s or one of the Star Wars fan events, that the Galactic Star Cruiser was the highest rated customer satisfaction experience that they ever had in the history of Disney doing these internal surveys. And it's also won industry awards for the branding experience, and that was the reason why I made my video. And like tangentially, that's also why I ended up meeting Carrie. So I guess if there's any one influence that the Jenny documentary had, it was me being connected to this project. So that's great. Because Carrie, she started. Oh, here's Daisy, by the way, dog tax. Carrie was set out to do this documentary, obviously, before it closed, and Jenny's video came out a year after the closing. I forget exactly how long it came out, but yeah. So I'd say obviously her motivation for making the documentary had nothing to do with that, but I don't know, Carrie, has there been, other than me, like anything that's kind of changed in the way that you have decided to tell the story because of that documentary or, that 4-hour video?
No, absolutely not. I mean, I didn't watch all of it. I just, I can't go down that road. And enough people said she's smart, and I'm sorry she had a bad experience. So it hasn't, and it's just really different. It's a whole different thing. And it just makes me more determined. Thank you, Carbonites. It makes me more determined to just make sure people know the difference and like get it out there, because it's a cool story about what we need as people and how we create and enjoy each other and form friendships and community and fandoms and art and the way that art can change culture. And I don't think it's just a really different thing. Good. Thanks for asking though, JP. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so let's dive back into the Kickstarter since we're talking about that. So you've met your first goal. So tell our viewers and our listeners by obviously the more money you have for resources, the better you can produce, and like you said, send it off to festivals and stuff. What are some of the additional stretch goals and things that people could look forward to if they wanted to back the project?
Man, thank you so much. It means everything. So First of all, I wanted to let people know what they're paying for. We're paying 2 editors right now full-time salary through October at least. We are paying for coloring and pro sound, which is expensive. I had no idea. We've got legal consultation and archival permissions we need to do with a lawyer. That's expensive. Who knew lawyers, they charge money? What? And then we also have promotion to do, and then also apply and travel to, we hope, some festivals where we'll get it accepted. So we aimed low on the Kickstarter, but we have stretch goals. So the first stretch goal is at 55,000, which we're pretty close to. There are going to be exclusive digital interview content from Star Cruiser actors and crew members. Then we're going to have even more of those at 60K, so you get the whole full complement of 6 extended digital interviews. And then after that, we've got some exciting art that is coming along at the $70,000 and $80,000 level. So like prints and stickers and other things like that will be only available through the Kickstarter. But also just thanks if you can throw any money our way. You're just helping me make a film and keeping me from putting a whole bunch of money on my 0% interest credit card that I have responsibly used to help make the film. And also pay JP right over there, right there, JP, that guy, and pay our score guy and pay our lead researcher who have taken no money because they have jobs.
Yeah, I was going to say, thus far, to make the film, it has to be edited, and that has been a people who've been being paid, but that doesn't mean people come on team like JP and John Beachy, our score musician, composer.
Brilliant.
Who just wanted to do it, but we wanted to, make this film in a way that is professional, and that means hopefully that money comes in and those people get paid. And we're really excited about the score because that's one thing that sets a professional film apart from, again, things like YouTube videos. It's original score music, and it's going to be beautiful.
And it's going to be available as potentially there might be a stretch fund. It's so good.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Carrie, but like the music that we were just listening to in the Kickstarter and the trailer, that was all done by John Beachy, right?
On the teaser trailer is Beachy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man, thank you so much for asking that and just, I don't know, serving up some love for the project.
Right on. So so if you want to contribute to what's looking like shaping up, I love the teaser reel and even the Kickstarter video. It's a lot of I'm definitely going to want to check it out when the final product comes out for sure. DB, how about you?
Absolutely. I was thinking that just with those 2 short videos we've watched tonight, the level of professionalism, just sets the tone for what's to come. I'm super impressed.
Yeah. Are you pointing at me, JP? Oh my God. Thank you so much. That's really, really kind. And I think you would fit in. You do fit in with you are Star Cruiser family now, man. You're a Star Cruiser as one.
You. Yeah, I was muted. I was saying my image is reversed, so I was trying to make sure I was pointing the right way.
Yeah, I didn't realize that there's actual get-togethers and cons just for cruisers. That's talk about a loyal fandom. That's pretty cool.
Oh yeah, like I could tell you more about that. I won't, but yes, it's amazing, and it's all in the film. On the film, and actually that leads into no. You want to?
I just want to say really quickly that when it comes to like the community and like the House of Cons and things like that, when I hear that someone else had a voyage on the Star Cruiser, I feel like an immediate kinship with them. It's weird. I feel like I'm part of their tribe. That's all I wanted to say.
Well,
yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, and I would just say that that's something that maybe hasn't we haven't talked about what the film is not just that it was about the Star Cruiser thing itself and people that were made it and were part of it and fans of it, but it really is almost as much about what happened with the fan community and how deep they are and how deeply affected they felt by it and what it motivated them to do, which is a lot of things. And okay, we'll show you one of the things that it motivated people to do.
Well, I was just going to try and help them segue into the place where they talk about items, but I don't know if we're there yet.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think we're getting close. And so when I was going to ask before we segue into Collection Corner, which was when are you projecting that this will be out? And
Collection Corner. I thought of something. I'll be back. Go ahead and keep going.
Go ahead.
Okay. So we have the unofficial first full screening will be at House of Con in October, but we can't call it a world premiere because we're going to save that for the film festival. So fall 2025, it will be done, and we have to wait to deliver the film to our backers from Kickstarter until after the film festival circuit next summer. So year out-ish, year and a half out-ish for delivery. Yeah, but we're going to be done, and we're going to have a full rough cut in probably 2 weeks, and then we're going to start tweaking. And
oh wow, okay,
yeah, we're getting really close.
How exciting is that?
Rough cut. It is very exciting.
Still, that's so super exciting. Right. And how long is how much longer can people? Much longer is the Kickstarter going? Can people jump in on that?
21 days to back, and be sure that you get the film and any goodies that you want. Stuff that's not this t-shirt, but we have t-shirts, stickers, we have merch, we have an exclusive print, and you can be
the soundtrack on digital or a CD,
right.
I believe.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
People want a DVD, Blu-ray, if there's still those kind of folks, versus just a digital version of the film.
Yeah. Right.
So that's all options on there, and it is really, like it's a big question mark what the distribution of this will be.
Mm-hmm.
We don't fully know. So paying kickstarting our project with $20 means you will have.
You'll definitely get it.
You will have the film. You will see the film.
Right.
Guaranteed.
Yeah, and if there's anybody out there who really has CBC for the Carbonites is bringing the jokes. I love it. I'm sure you'll explain, but offering Scruffy's credit card and the CBC number. So nice. Scruffy, thank you so much for becoming an executive producer at the $10,000 level. We're gonna make sure to put you in the end credits. Man, Scruffy, really appreciate that. So want to let you know that if anybody does want a credit for associate producer, you get all the goodies, all the things, and you get an end title credit as associate or executive producer. And we don't have an executive producer yet. $10,000. If you have that kind of money, we do have a nonprofit we're affiliated with. So if you want a tax write-off, we can hook you up with that too.
Very cool. And all that information is on your website. Society. Yeah, that, and those links are on your website, right? Yeah, right on. So since there's still time before it comes out, and I think honestly, I think we could sit here for 3-4 hours and talk about, because I have a lot of behind the scenes questions. So I think definitely, as we're getting closer to release, we'd love to have you guys back on again and, talk about it again. Because there's just, I have a whole ton of BTS questions. I mean, just about your experiences in the process and interviewing and scheduling and all sorts of stuff like that. And but my wife will kill me if I'm on here for 3 hours. So she's I could do it tonight. She's my persuader, right? Yeah. So definitely, that's an invitation. We'd love to have you guys back down the road and definitely talk about it again, especially as you're getting into the film circuit, in terms of the festival circuit. Let's get that word out about that kind of stuff. But before we segue out of this discussion and into Collection Corner, is there anything else about the film, the project, that you guys would like to touch on before we move along?
I think what I'm leaving.
I'll make mine super quick because I know Carrie's will be excellent. If you can still help in other ways, if you can't afford to back it, you'd share it with your friends, share it with your Star Wars friends, share it with your Disney friends, because I'm a huge Disney fan, and that's kind of what was another reason why I got into this. So share the project. While financially backing is very important, if you're unable to, for whatever kind of reason, there are other ways you can help. That's all I wanted to say.
Right on.
That's amazing. Yeah. And we did get we were bestowed with an amazing surprise project we love from Kickstarter, because we got funded so quickly and fast, and I guess they liked it. It was like a staff pick for Kickstarter, and it's not everybody doesn't get it, and we got that in part because
they put a big heart,
a little heart on
your
us.
Kickstarter. So
We didn't try to get that.
that's
It's
gotta
just
be good.
because people shared it. So if you're like,
That's
hey, I was on this great, amazing podcast and these fun filmmakers seem like they're trying to do something, just take a click and throw them a little money and, or watch a video that keeps us up in the algorithm on Kickstarter.
Right on.
What I'm taking away from finishing this project or being part of it is that people are really amazing and beautiful and giving, and it's been touching, and I have learned how to be generous from these people. I have learned how to be a better human because of working with this team. And art, like a design immersive experience, even through Disney, under a Star Wars IP, which I have affection for, if we can promote more of that right now, how people connect and share and inspire each other and support each other, man, that is a beautiful lesson for me, taking that away. And I think the film really shows that. This community is off the charts. Amazing. And Lloyd Peterson, who just offered a message, we've gotten more Kickstarter pledges during the podcast. He is one of our amazing supporters who's been there all the way along. Thank you, Lloyd. And thank you, everybody. Yeah.
Right on. And we're gonna I will update the show notes for this and on the YouTube version, and in the when the audio version goes out, we'll make sure to put links for both your website and the Kickstarter. So yeah, so if you got even a few bucks, folks, just if you got a few bucks, chip in. It's a very cool project. I love the whole gamut that you guys, it's not just talking about being fans. You guys, I love the whole behind this. I'm just shocked at the behind the scenes, or the people that you got access to. It's just absolutely amazing. So congratulations on that project.
I look forward to coming back on in November and talking about film festivals after we do our premiere at House of Con.
Right on. That'd be awesome. Absolutely.
Not unofficial premiere, not a premiere.
Yeah.
Test
For legal
screening,
reasons,
test
it's a preview.
There you go.
preview test screening.
Right.
South by Southwest, that was not a premiere.
right on. Okay. All right, let's transition into collection corner. All right, but not a copyright strike. So we're going to cut that short. And welcome to Collection Corner segment of the show. We are going to DB. It looks like DB is.
Oh my.
All right. So for Collection Corner, I wanted to show a few things before we get too far. Before we start going roundtable. We had so I mentioned it at the beginning of the show, Carbonites, Vincent from Carbonites, who is on the show in the chat right now. He was one of our very first giveaway recipients. We started doing giveaways a few weeks ago, and he was nice enough to post on social that he got our package. And I think the thing I was most amazed about in DB2 was that Scruffy actually wrote him a letter, and I was surprised at how humorous it really was. So, Scruffy, I think that's the biggest win of collecting. So, great job. We talked about it, because we were giving stuff away from our collections. So, he was the first one to pull me up some items, and it was he was giving a lot of tears in addition to the collectibles. But DB, let's start with you. And what do you got?
Well, I have plenty of things that I happen to forget at work on my desk because the gifts have shown up aplenty lately. But because my items always have a story, my offspring, who just turned 14, has decided to start purging her room of all her childhood things, most of which I have purchased for her. And so I acquired, I don't even know what the heck this is, but this is a giant baby Yoda that apparently we gave to her when she was, 6, 7, whenever Mando came out. And I didn't even know this was in her room. And now she says it's too big, take it down to the man cave. And the man cave is not very big either. So, yeah, look how big this thing is. I am not a small human, and this thing is huge. All right, so it's not new. It's just new to me. If anybody knows what the heck this is called, I don't know, other than Baby Yoda. That's all I'm going to share on Collection Corner today.
All right. So JP, let's go around to you.
Yeah, so originally I was going to show, the lightsaber that my Galactic Star Cruiser character made on the cruise, but when Carrie was talking about things being made, it suddenly clicked in my mind that one aspect of the community that we didn't talk about was, I was mentioning how everybody had backstories. People would bring gifts. They would create these little things, and then on the cruise they would just hand them out to other people, or there would be like a unofficial meetup where people would go and exchange things. And so this was something that I got from a fellow passenger.
Oh, that's cool.
It's a little rubber ducky porg, and it's hand painted. Someone put, I think they created like 50 of these things or something. Like, who knows how many of them they made. But yeah, this was one of the gifts I got from a fellow passenger on my voyage. And I have so many of these little tokens from, all these different passengers. And this is just one that I could get to quickly without having to dig through stuff. So there you go. It is a custom-made, one-of-a-kind rubber ducky porg.
That's awesome.
Scruffy is going to lose his mind when he sees that.
He is. That's awesome. That's awesome. Carrie and John.
I'm going. Yeah, I'll echo JP that like there was this culture of crafting and gift exchange that was really huge on Star Cruiser. I mean, they gave a huge part of it with the fans and what people did while they're on board, and they made so many. I mean, like you could show so much crazy stuff that people put all this effort into. But I don't know. I just have a few things that little like stuck with me. Like this is a little Zen rock pile thing that somebody made and gave to people. But if you went on the Star Cruiser, this is like, what this is. Because there are these Zen rock piles in this room. And that's where the Sajas help you get in touch with. Well, if you're a special person who gets chosen, some people ended up in there and you got to maybe use the Force and move some rocks with the Force. And it was like this incredible moment that like blew people's minds. And you didn't know, like you started hearing about it. Like, oh, I think that happens. How does it happen? You don't know if you're going to get to do it or not. And so anyway, like they started making these little things and giving them to people to remind people of that. There was a Star Cruiser fan and friend of our project who made these little necklaces for us to give away for a little earlier fundraiser. And she also made these
tiny miniature items from food from the Star Cruiser, including tiny blue milk. Her name is Stacy Fitzpatrick.
Oh, that's
like awesome. That's a little cup of blue milk and green milk. Which they have on board, and then that orange thing is the cookies that they give away on board as well.
That people lost their damn they lost their damn minds over the cookies.
We have some of these cookies in our freezer still.
Yeah,
sell them on eBay for probably like $500.
I never knew these existed, and then when we got home, my wife had one. And I'm like, "Where'd you get that?" She's like, "There were a ton of them over on this counter." I never knew about it. And then my friends actually, they had drove and one of the perks you get from being there is you get complimentary valet parking. And for every guest who had a vehicle inside of their car on the dashboard, they put like a thank you little orange cookie. So yeah. Like the little touches they did to kind of elevate this experience. Disney, I could criticize a lot of things they did, but the amount of ways that they would make you feel special in this experience, I can't like that. No notes. A++.
Yeah. And also, how much time do we have? Because we don't want to take too much time, but this could go on for a few minutes.
No, that's fine. We got a few minutes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, go for it.
Great.
I just got one more, which is and so those blue milk and cookies, that was kindly made for us to give away at an earlier little fundraiser we did.
We sold them, yeah.
Got those. So that was just, a Star Cruiser community person being super generous and creative and helping us by making these things. And this is a handmade, crafted little name badge. That was my character on one of the cruises and my planet. And another Star Cruiser friend of ours made these for us.
Oh,
and
that's cool.
They're like, completely like engraved, and they're really nice, and it was magnetic.
That's
So
very cool.
that was my guy.
Neat.
People made just endless amounts of amazing stuff.
Yeah,
And I'll throw it over to Karen.
I have like 15 things here, so I'm gonna have to make it fast. All right. So these things may or may not have been liberated, that were not purchased nor were given to me from the Star Cruiser's third to Final Voyage. Just gonna say that, and I really treasure those.
That's Star Cruiser hot sauce.
That's Star Cruiser hot sauce for the fiery Mustafarian cocktail,
There's
right?
a drink that you can pour this fiery hot sauce into your drink, depending on how much fiery Mustafarian you want in your Mustafarian.
And it's so weird. Like these just ended up in my suitcase. I don't even know how they got there. It's very strange.
Blame the Anzellans. They're small. They just put things,
They do. They get in everything. This is an example of a swag item. So this is a card, and on it says "Unionize Now," and on the bottom it's showing support for the stormtroopers. No, is that Hondo Ohnaka. This is the follow-up Hondo Ohnaka. This was the one for the stormtroopers. The nickname is Upchucks, and there's a whole acronym for what you need to do to unionize and help the stormtroopers. So Star Wars fans on this podcast, hi, I'm Dave. Hi, I'm Steve. I am your stormtrooper representative, and Upchuck stands for things here that I can't get into, but they followed it up with the Hondo Ohnaka. That was friggin' brilliant. Also, the Wraith Cole scoundrel character on board, different actors both times, slipped me chips to cheat in the Sabak tournament and a card to cheat with. Those I couldn't buy. Those are very treasured.
That's cool.
Okay. All right. And then things people made. So the two characters like Wani, the Rhodian, and Gaia, the diva who sang, people crocheted and sold these on Etsy at a ridiculous price that should have been 5 times as much. I treasure these two characters, and I am not the only one that has these. Lots of people do. And then this one is really special. It's a necklace made by a Saja character who in her actual life made these, sold them at House of Con. So they are Saja inspired beads. And then if you've never seen this, let me just show you this guy right here. That is the Atrium Lego set. So if you want to put together the Atrium of the Star Cruiser, and then this right here that I'm pointing, that is my character that I hand did from Lego. So I made all.
Oh man,
that is cool. That is very cool.
Yeah. Carrie, I don't know if you intentionally did it or not, but you muted yourself when you moved your computer.
Oh, I had to make these hand-built characters, like of all the characters, including myself. There's my husband's character. Anyway, yeah, thanks for letting me know, JP, about the mute. I get very excited about the swag swapping. One of my best Star Cruiser friends made this patch for people. The same person who made his badge made this Hyananea stone, which is part of the heist, and gave it to me, just knowing me from Facebook, for his character to give to my character. Like, made this just for me and our story that we put on Facebook ahead of the journey. I mean, it's ridiculous. And then finally, look, I gotta give a shout out to my Wendy and Andrew Vogel. They did a galactic dinner event last year. It was an immersive dinner. He's a chef. They made a whole book of the whole thing. I mean, I have hundreds of items that are meaningful to me, including this necklace, which is handmade by another Star Cruiser and sold at House of Con. And only 20 or so of us have these, and on and on.
That's cool.
Is that the kind of thing I'm supposed to share? Did I share?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
So unique. So unique. I love it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Very, very cool. That's awesome. That's some cool stuff.
Yeah. And then, kind of another just cool little thing about you when you were talking about your Star Wars characters that you handmade, your Lego figures, everybody who went on the Halcyon is now officially canon. Because the Halcyon cruise is an actual event that happens in actual canon.
We're canon.
So if you and it's your voyage. You know, it's the 255th anniversary voyage, and you know, every voyage is kind of its own little metaverse of what happens. But like technically, because it's a canon adventure, and you were there, and it's not again, this is something you actually live out. This means that you know and they'll tell you that you are a canon character if you were on one of the Galactic Star Cruises. So
that's cool.
Not to brag or anything, but
I mean, a little bit of a high key. That is a high key flex right there.
Absolutely. That's great. That's great. Oh wow, that is some very cool stuff. Yeah, swag is part of any community, and that is some very cool stuff. And it means more when people have made it, and you're swapping and sharing and giving it to people, and so I can understand the value that brings. DB, there's something back in the chat. This was from what you showed. Carbonites said they think it's a
Squishmallow. Yes, you are so right, Vincent. That's a squishmallow.
A good Gotato. Maya, welcome to the show. He's probably been watching all night.
Maya, a Gotato, I think, is my species in the Star Wars universe.
There you go.
So,
there you go. And then the Delphi Rangers wanted to know if that was a puck or a dorg on JP's item. And then we got into some Spaceballs humor. So somebody called it a mom.
Yes.
I like that
best
one.
friend. I will finish this segment off with. So I got a package from one of our fans, one of our viewers and listeners. He's a big fan of the Collection Corner segment, and so I got a tube in the mail just the other day, and one of the things in it, I'm an R5 collector, and he had reached out to me, and it's one of the Durable lines, and it's an R5 I did not have. And he goes by his social, he goes by I am Anakin's father. Is that what it was?
I believe that's his handle. Yeah.
I am Anakin's father. And he also sent 3 sets of the 1999 Phantom Menace mini posters distributed by Frito-Lay. And he said that he loves the podcast, looks forward to each edition of the Collection Corner, and keep up the great work. So so the guys are real big into collectibles, and Frito-Lay did a series of mini posters because you could see the Frito-Lay Pepsi logo for Phantom Menace back in '99 with the release of the film. And so he actually sent us 3 full sets, so each of the guys got one. And I am Anakin's father. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Can't wait to get them up. Thank you, sir. You are awesome. So that's what I've got for Collection Corner. And that's that. So now's the portion of the show where we're going to start wrapping up, and it's Carrie and John and JP. Again, let's tell our viewers and our listeners, because this will be audio next week, where can they find everything Halcyon Daze, and then also JP, let's make sure we plug Double Crit Fail for you as well.
I'll go ahead and first get that one out of the way, then we can. My YouTube channel is all about D&D and other TTRPGs. I kind of like to take a funny take on things. I also have a video on there all about the Galactic Star Cruiser, talking about my experience. So if you were interested by hearing us chat for almost the past 2 hours in seeing a little bit more, a little sneak peek maybe before the Halcyon Daze documentary comes out, you feel free to check out that video and see, my own experience with it. So I'm found online on YouTube at Double Crit Fail. So thank you so much for having me, by the way.
Absolutely. And I will make sure to put a link to that video in our show notes as well. So,
and
Carrie and John.
It's a beautiful video. Oh my God, it's so good, JP.
It is.
You can find our website, halcyondazefilm.com. You can find our Kickstarter campaign on Kickstarter. Just search Halcyon Daze, Halcyon Daze. We are on Facebook just search Halcyon Daze Doc.
I think
on Insta. That's Insta. Halcyon Daze Doc. Yeah.
Right on. And if you check our socials, we're followers of them, so you can find them via that route as well.
Amazing. And I'm looking forward to Scruffy's credit card with the CVC, right? For the 10K executive producer backing that we're going to do. Thanks, Scruffy, for coming on board.
Yeah. Everybody applaud Scruffy.
Scruffy is the man. And then, so a couple more chats. Brent, welcome to the show. Dr. Squatch, are you still on? Did you see this one? Hello, boys. Brent, Rule the Galaxy here. Is Double Crit an Armada player?
No, I have not played that one. I'm not familiar, actually, if that's a board game or a tabletop TTRPG. As far as if that is I don't know if that is a Star Wars tabletop. The one that I played was Saga Edition, which is kind of based off of, for all you nerds out there, D&D 3.5. So that's my experience. Oh, and also I did some Fantasy Flight games, Edge of the Empire, things of that nature. Also tabletop, very, very good system. So
Edge
I'll
of
have
the
to check out
Empire.
Armada.
Yeah. Brent is actually, he's really big into Legion. That is his go-to. He does a lot of Legion. He's part of the Indiana Garrison, and they do get-togethers from time to time. Yeah, Edge of Empire. Funny you say that, because that's the game, that's the rule set. Age of Rebellion, Edge of Empire from Final Fantasy, which is what Coruscant Knights does, and that's what we're going to play with them when we do their episodes.
It's a great system. You'll have a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, I've listened to their whole library of shows, and I love the flow. It's really good. Carrie, did you have something?
Yeah, I just want to mention, if anybody's in the Dayton, Ohio area around the weekend of July 25th, 26th, 27th, we are going to show a full test screening of the film with a fundraising brunch. We have tickets still left at the entry level. So if anybody wants to come and see the film and have some brunch and be around some Star Cruisers, we'd love to have you there. Yeah.
Right on. And that is also on your website. They can get the tickets there. They can find the links and everything right on your guys' website. And then we had one more comment, and JP, this is meant, I think, for you, Thaco, yay or nay?
I started with 5e. I've heard, I know, I also appreciate the old school Renaissance games, and I appreciate they brought back a lot of old systems. You'll notice no one ever brought back Thaco. So,
ooh, harsh.
Right.
See you in Dayton, Lloyd.
See you in Dayton, Lloyd. All right. Okay, so that is pretty much a show. You know what? Let me get the. I said it would be.
You are not going to subject these guys to this, are you?
Oh, come on.
Give it to us. Let's go.
Yes.
We're ready.
All
I can
right.
handle it. Don't
Let's
go
see.
easy on me. I'm ready.
I got to find the intro. Here we go. Dad joke of the week. Time to annoy Scruffy and DB. Dad joke of the week. All right, so Star Wars dad joke of the week, courtesy of Kelly Knox's Star Wars dad jokes, and this week's, and I got to make sure I get that outro ready. Let's see. Okay, so a Padawan tried to build a lightsaber with a hilt on each end, but it was pointless. That was dad joke of the week Now don't you feel absolutely complete? All right. Well, I came up with those theme songs on my drive home from work.
Those are inspiring lyrics. Dad,
right?
Dad.
You know, if your composer doesn't work out, Brown Leader is always available. All right.
Yep, good. Thanks.
I love
Between
it.
that, Scrappy's credit card, we're ready to go.
Right.
Right on. So let's get you guys on again in the fall, and we will definitely be talking more about Halcyon Daze. We can't wait to see the final product. So good luck, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. We got one more little thing to do. For all of our guests that come on the show, become honorary members of Brown Squadron. And with that, you guys get a Brown designation and a call sign. And so we try to relate the call sign, obviously, to something Star Wars related. I know you guys are technically canon. But we did come up with some different call signs, and I based it around actual crew members from the Halcyon. And so, Carrie, you when you come back on the show again, you'll be Brown 74. Kevin, who was a Pantoran, one of the Pantoran captains of the Halcyon. Jonathan, Brown 75. Trinkris, who is actually the chief engineer of the Halcyon, on board. And then JP, we've got Brown 76 and Wazak, who was also, he was an Ugnaught engineer that worked with Trinkris on the Halcyon. So so you guys will go in the logs as members of Brown Squadron. So you have a whole
all
nother.
I can think of is like Wazak.
I know, right? That's exactly what I know. When I saw it, I was like, oh, I got to go with that one. No ifs, ands, or buts about that. So welcome to the crew. And we look forward to, look forward to see you guys, and we'll definitely continue to support you. And like I said, the Kickstarter goes for 21 more days, folks. So if you've got a couple bucks you want to chip in, you won't match Scruffy's credit card, but you will, if you want to chip in and throw some money their way, by all means, check out their Kickstarter, and we'll get those links in the notes. So with that, thank you everybody for coming on the show. JP, Carrie, John, it's been an honor to meet you. And excellent job with what we've seen so far, and good luck on getting it all wrapped up.
Wow.
Thanks so much.
What a blast. Thank you all so much.
Right on. So, okay. If you'd like to get a hold of Hyperspace Heroes, you know how to get a hold of us on all the social medias. Our DMs are open. You can email us at brownsquadron@gmail.com. And with that, one thing we do on our show, I should have briefed you guys on ahead of time. So we don't end with May the Force be with you. We do things a little off kilter here on this show. And after I do the final sign off, you guys are welcome to join in if you want. But we always end with "That's no moon." So, I'll leave that up. Right. So I'll do the final sign off, which is everybody. Thanks for watching, listening. You know how to get a hold of us. And with that, this is Brown Leader signing off for the crew. And you have been listening and watching Hyperspace Heroes. That's no moon.
Was it good for you?